All right, welcome everybody to our Friday edition of Developer Dynasty. Tonight, as always on Friday, we're talking Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2021. We apologize for the time change and late notice today. Sometimes life comes at you and things happen and we have to adjust. So we appreciate you making the adjustment and being here with us for a little bit later stream. Still a half hour showing off some of the new things we've been working on the past week. As always, we are joined by the creator and lead developer of the game, Brooks. Brooks, say hello to the millions and millions of fans out there.
Wow, we're really growing. Hello, everybody.
Well, we are on our way to millions of fans. We are actually almost at the 200 follower mark. So I mentioned Tuesday on the stream that when we hit that mark, maybe we'll have to do some kind of special giveaway, or maybe we'll do two giveaways. Maybe a giveaway for everybody on the follower list, and a special giveaway for just the people on the subscriber list. If you are not a subscriber, we really appreciate those who are. That helps us out a little bit. And if you have Amazon Prime, you have a free Twitch Prime link up there that you can do, and with that, you get a free subscription every month. If you use that subscription for us, you do have to renew it every month. So even if you can't come into the streams because of the time that they're at, and you watch them later on Twitch, you can still follow the channel. You can still use that free subscription to the channel and renew it every month, and still support us that way. And like I said, let's get that follower count up to 200. We've had a couple of new followers. I think we had 4 within the past 24 hours. So hello to all of our new followers, and thank you as always to our subscribers. We're going to start tonight looking at a couple of things here that Brooks has put in, and a little bit of work that I've done in the past week. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat box. Brooks always does a great job answering everybody's questions and talking about suggestions and stuff like that. But a couple of things that I noticed new this week are going back to an old thing that we showed off in one of the earlier streams, is this hover that Brooks has worked on and refined, that when you hover over player names in the games, you'll get a little quick pop-up. Of course, you can click on the player and bring up the full player card and get all the detail there. But I really like the idea behind the hover here, that just kind of scrolling along, you can kind of get a quick update on certain players. There's also something new. Some new things have been added. Let's go to the depth chart screen, because this was a suggestion that I saw in our Slack channels. And if you guys have suggestions, throw them out here in the chat box. You can do it in Slack, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. We look at the suggestions and are able to import things and develop ideas based on them. So this is one that Brooks put in this week, a visual depth chart. So Brooks, you want to kind of give a little bit of detail on what they're seeing here?
Yeah, so in the current version of the game, there's the little button to hover over or to show the formation picture. It's in the left column up towards the top. And one of our longtime friends of the game had mentioned showing pictures along with a slightly large layout, so that we could get a better visual on where the players are, what players are in particular positions. So this would basically be your first string. Given the formation and the package that you've selected, what would the lineup be? And this is one of those things that may influence other screens. On like the play calling screens, when you're playing out a 2D game and things like that, we may be able to pop up a little bit more information like that. But I like this because we actually had the real estate to go ahead and do it. So, and I remembered, or they reminded me of the suggestion, so I went ahead and added this in. And I think it's neat to be able to see their faces and have their names in the position that they're currently lined up at. So
I think that's a really cool idea too. I was glad that you implemented that suggestion, and I think it's anything that gives more visuals. To us, obviously, our focus in the games is on realism and stats, but I feel that in all of our games that we've really always tried to push the envelope in terms of what a quote unquote text sim could do visually and graphics wise, because I really think that in the year 2020 people are not looking to play a spreadsheet. So I think that we've always done a great job of making these games come alive as best we can. And now with the AU platform, we have even more tools at our disposal and more things we can do. So there's a question in the chat for you, Brooks, from Hale Spanky. With the formations, is there any possibility of being able to create our own formation on top of what already is in there, i.e. Wishbone? Wishbone's a popular request, and it's already in there, huh?
Yeah, so we've added we added Wishbone in. We're trying to get parity between the pro game and the college game, and some of these are obviously going to be more used in one versus the other, but at least being able to bring them over is okay by me. But we're trying not to add even more formations because it gets confusing when people have to set up that many different packages and assign all their different packages to the various formations. So what we're trying to do is nudge people towards being able to create custom plays where you'll be able to motion guys into a pistol formation or motion trips right or motion a tight end to the other side of the formation, or a running back from right to left, or bring a running back in tight. Those kinds of motions are what we're looking at, so that you can keep your same personnel, keep the same base formation, but using those shifting mechanisms, it should allow you guys to get to any kind of formation that you want to use. And if some of these motions and shifts and things become standard plays that we include with the game, then definitely we'll work with the community to try and port some of those in, so that not everybody has to create the same custom plays over and over again. We'll be able to leverage those where possible. So the first question in the chat was, can we get ratings in the hover? And the hover screens haven't been designed yet. It was more of a technical ability just to see that we can get the hovers working. There's a balancing act between making it big enough to make it useful, but not making it cover the whole screen, because otherwise you would just pop up the player modal if you wanted. So I'll work with Gary to figure out exactly what all we want to show in that little hover that to maximize its usefulness. So TBD on that one. And Gary's moved on to the play creator screen, so you can kind of see where the play action and the motion and the shifts and that kind of thing are going to be.
Yep, here's just a look kind of while Brooks answers some of the questions here that we're getting in the chat. I'll just run through a quick play here and show you guys the graphics here in the play creation screen. This is one of my favorite things that got added last year.
Yeah, if possible on that, I'd like to figure out how to draw that onto the little play diagram, but I haven't gotten to it yet. I can't commit to it, but it'd be nice to be able to show those guys moving and to adjust appropriately. Derma's asking if there's possibility to add more variety in the news articles. So yeah, the news articles are actually a moddable file. They are a giant XML file that has all various kinds of articles that we've written or that we've replicated from popular news sources that we can add more to it. It was one of those deals where we could hire a full-time writer and do nothing but come up with those news articles, but it's a lot of work for our team to do because we're relatively limited in our resources. So I was hoping the community would be able to help source some of those articles. So if there are folks out there that are interested in helping, write those things, then we can create some Word docs or some Google Docs or whatever online, and start sharing different articles or different things you've either seen or things that you've written. We can look at incorporating those into the game so that you get a bigger variety.
Question, can you
Coach,
see the defensive play art when you create a play?
yeah, that should actually be working if you go back and click create a defensive play. There were a couple of
All right, let's try it.
issues with the old one, but yeah, so the diagrams are there for this one for defense, and I mean these are things that we'll catch as part of beta testing and tweak if we need to, but they should be working now.
Yep, we can see them here. That is, I am not a football coach by any standard, so whatever I'm drawing up here is probably the worst play ever, but we can at least see that it's working.
Yeah, it looks like a Big 12 defense. Works for me. So Pound for Pound is talking about the pro basketball stream and like the idea of linking leagues or linking a college game with the pro. So Gary and I haven't talked about this. This was something he put in basketball, but some other members had pointed it out to me, going, "Hey, what about football? Can we get something like this?" So I watched the replay of his stream, and I'll work with him on it. I would love to put something like that in. I want to make sure that we make it work where it makes sense for football. I know we have a huge problem with our football pro and college games not lining up super well for people who are trying to do sims. But I'd still like to figure out a way to link those up, or at least make the export and import more automated so that those people who have both games or for online leagues, you'll be able to take advantage of the same thing that Gary's putting together for his basketball. So thanks for bringing that up. I would love to do it. I just got to work with Gary and make sure we add it to the list and to the list.
Yeah, and for the people who aren't familiar with basketball games or weren't part of the basketball stream, what is happening in Pro Basketball 2021 is there is an option to link directly to a college basketball league. So if you have college basketball 2020 or 2021 when it is released early next year, the games will link up. You'll still have to sim through the college game, and you have to do certain steps in certain order. But what I'm working on in the pro game is pulling the information from the college game into the pro game, so that while you're in the pro game, you can not only manage your team in the pro world, but you also have the college standings and college stats and maybe some news and stuff like that, so that you really have a whole nother universe that's sort of being built into the game, giving you more depth, more things to look at, more things to consider in making your roster moves or your trades or whoever you think is going to come out in the draft. So that's what they're talking about with the linked leagues, and it's I would love to see it happen too, and I'll absolutely be working with Brooks to show him the secrets of what I'm doing and how we can incorporate it hopefully into Pro Football 2021. Let's see.
I was going to let Gary figure out how to do it all, and then I'll just copy it.
Yeah. A question: can you edit the coaches? Yeah, you can edit the coaches right from the staff page. You can pull up their profile card, and then there's a screen here that gives you the opportunity to edit the general managers or the coaches in the game. So that's been part of the game for a while, and you'll absolutely be able to do that here. Before we get too far off the playbook and the playbook topic, I want to show one other adjustment that Brooks made and have him just kind of highlight why we're talking about it. Let me pull up the playbook and the table that resides here now for the playbooks. Brooks, you want to give everybody an idea of what they're looking at here?
Yeah, so one of the things we're getting asked a lot about is additional analysis and more understanding of what is going on inside these playbooks and how these things are working. So this is an actual AI generated coach playbook that we will be tweaking for this version. I think the play we'll just make them more realistic. Let's just leave it at that. They need to be tweaked a little bit so they're not so random. But as part of this analysis, we wanted to add, and this came at one of the suggestions either on Slack or over our previous stream, but they wanted to be able to tell, hey, if I put this play in my playbook, how many times have I called it? What's the average gain of it? And if it's in the playbook, what's the frequency that it's actually going to be called? Because all of these plays have different weights. So you'd be able to, instead of adding the play 10 times, we allow you to assign a weight to it so that certain plays bubble up and get played a lot more frequently. So this kind of grid is what we're going to go with for now, just to show you, hey, this isn't just like overall play analysis. This is for a specific playbook. How are the plays performing inside that? Well, it's just a list of plays for the playbook. The analysis is still done overall. But that's what this is, just to kind of give you an idea of when you build these things out, is it actually being set up the way that you think with the correct plays bubbling up to the most used plays. Coach BJ was asking about editing coaches, and one of the things that I don't know if we did in PF20 was surface up being able to edit all of the traits of coaches. So their defensive tendencies, their philosophies, and things like that. The little drop down list. So we'll get those added into this. I'm not sure if I have them in there right now. It's more of a basic for their rating numbers, and the preferences aren't here. But well, the style and the attitude are, they're just not working right. So we'll try and get all those added, so you'll be able to actually recreate a real life head coach if you wanted, or create yourself, instead of right now all you can do is change your ratings. You can't change all those preferences, which kind of defeated the purpose. So we'll definitely get that fixed for PF21.
And just to prove that I've been doing some work over the past week, I've got some exciting work on the 2D screen to show off that we've been working on. So I'm going to pull that up here, and you can see that we have a much closer to being finished design here. I will select a game here and get it started up so that you can see everything that's been coming to this screen so far. I have been working with Brooks. Hopefully we can add. I have another idea that I want to work on the screen, adding in a different option for play calling. So we haven't worked out yet, but it's coming hopefully. And you can see that the addition that Brooks added to the game described last week with these descriptions up in the corner of the play box here, giving you sort of play-by-play detail, especially minor details, things like in this one he drops back and almost loses the ball. So it really helps you to get a feel for what's going on in the game that we can't really show with or 2D dots moving along the screen. One other thing that got added in here is we changed this to a toggle, so that if you prefer to watch the game in full screen mode, that when you click on it to call the play, that the screen will transition to the big screen, and then it will come back to the play calling screen. I like the addition that Brooks did here, giving the opportunity to watch it either in this big screen version, or just watching it on the screen itself here. So this screen isn't done by far, but it's definitely getting a lot closer to where we're hoping it will go. And if you have suggestions or anything else that you'd like to see, I know Brooks has a couple ideas too that we discussed earlier about additions on the screen. But if you have anything that really would set the 2D screen apart for you, reach out here in the chat or on Facebook, Twitter, or Slack channels, whatever method you like to use, so that I can get an idea of more adjustments that you'd like to see here. But I really like how this screen is coming along, and I think it's starting to look really good, and it looks a little use the same sort of scoreboard area that the pro basketball game is using. So there'll be some consistency between the games. There's a question from Hale Spanky: will we be able to get an idea of injury severity in the game? Brooks, what can we do about that?
Yeah, so the injury severities are in the game already. You can see them when you look at the players. If you're talking specifically about this 2D view, this play game view, and even a watch replay view, I think we'll end up making it look real similar to this. Yeah, we can do some things there. In the past, we've had some animations and some sounds played when certain plays happen, whether it's fumbles or interceptions or touchdowns or whatever. And I think adding injuries to that would be a good thing to do, so that when you're playing or whatever, it's immediately called out that there was an injury on a play, as opposed to right now it kind of gets lost, and all of a sudden you wonder 3 or 4 plays later why your wrong quarterback has been running plays, and you have to go back and check the play-by-play and all that. So we'll do some more work around that to highlight it, and it should make it a little bit easier to follow. And then the other things on this screen, so toggling between watch full screen and not, I know some people don't like the shift. So we made it a toggle so you can turn it on or turn it off if you don't particularly care for it. What I suspect is that most people will watch full screen replays, but when they're actually playing the game out, they'd probably leave it like this because the screen's big enough to see what you're doing. It's one of the benefits of having the additional real estate without having that flip and that flash of the screen. But again, we'll leave the toggle in there so you guys can use it however you'd like. The other thing that Gary and I are going to be asking for feedback on is the little stat box that has your running tally of all your players on the offensive or defensive side. We'd like to replace that with something else if that's not super usable. Because it's fine, but it's also not anything that's not already in the box score. So we were toying around with things like showing the most recent player to do a highlighted action, or a particular rotating through skill position players, or rotating through all players, and showing pop-ups of the little player's face, or kind of like a Gamecast kind of thing where you're showing highlights of a particular play and what the result was and that kind of thing. So, be thinking about that. Maybe next week, you guys can come up with some good ideas there, or examples that you've seen that you'd love to see us recreate on this. Because as it sits, it works fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think we can do better, and I'd love to get everybody's feedback on that particular piece. So Coach BJ is asking about choosing dot outline and font color of your home and away teams. So right now the font, there are colors already set up for teams, and the dots are actually picking up those colors. So I'm not sure if we're going to expand that to do like jersey colors in addition to team colors. I mean, I guess we could. It's just a lot more stuff that people would have to configure on a team by team basis, but we can look at doing that. But right now, the way it works is we have a color and we have an inverse color, and then that way you can the home teams get their normal color and the away teams get white usually. But we can tweak those. And can we sub players during the game? This one I'm still not. I'm not sure I'm going to get it in. I'm not sure I'm even going to try. That mainly because we have the package system already set up. So you're able to change your package based off of the formation that's going in. You could set up multiple packages, so you have the ability to swap your entire lineup out if you wanted, or if your package is, if you have package A that has one running back and package B that has a second running back, well, you just switch between those packages and it only switches the two people. So we're not looking at adding the ability to, on this particular page, to do individual player swaps. There are a lot of reasons for it, but right now the package is the way we're going with it. And Pound from Pound is talking about using the stat box for latest in-game injuries. That's kind of what I'm thinking, is that it's more of a info box that we could rotate through, highlights or fireworks or cheerleaders or highlighted players or injuries or whatever. And we'll take whatever feedback you guys have and use that as inspiration. So thanks for that.
Okay, I think I will move out of the 2D screen. We've showed that off for a little while here, and I'm happy with how that's coming along. Again, we kind of posted. I threw it out earlier in the chat, as Brooks mentioned. If people want to submit news articles or work, on a volunteer basis to help out with that. If you are maybe not so inclined to write, but you're interested in helping get us toward the finish line, we also are looking for community members who would like to help out and get the community roster set together. People, as we get into first access, or we release the game in the beta mode for anybody who pre-orders, I'm sure people would like to have the latest rosters to test with at that point even. So if you're interested and can help us out there, hit us up, and we'll tell you what you can do to help there.
Yeah, for rosters, just so everybody's aware, the way the rosters work for PF20 is we had a community member generate them, and basically offered, I reached out to him, and he offered to work with me on using those rosters in the game. So we were able to take his sheet and alter it, include it in the game as the default rosters, and we'd like to do the same. I don't particularly want to lean on him to have to do roster updates again, but what we found is that we can actually, with the tools that we have and the mod tools that I wrote to help with conversion, we're able to do this all with CSV files. So the thought is that we'd be able to put these things up as a Google sheet, so that the community members can go in and add and remove and tweak and update, and then I'd be able to pull them down and include them with the game, and we can hopefully keep those up to date as the pro season moves on, so that as transactions happen or whatever, the community would be able to keep up with it. I'd be able to pull that down and use it in the game. So it's more of a community driven event, as opposed to us having to write it and maintain it. And that way, I think a lot of us all jumping in and working on that will make for a better file, a more accurate file, and it'll spread the work out across a bunch of people. So hopefully we can get something like that going, and some of the members of the community will kind of step up to at least own the initial seeding of that. So hopefully we can get more community involvement in that.
Okay, so that is those are the biggest things that we had to show off for the week. We are inching towards our first access period. We're eager to get this in your hands. There's still a couple of things that still need to be squared away with the new interface. As we said, this is not just taking Pro Football 2020 and making a couple of tweaks. We tore this thing down to the studs, just like we did with the basketball games, and it's for the best. It's produced a huge improvement. Pro Football 2020 was a fantastic game, and Football 2021 is just, it's an amazing experience, even just kind of playing through the beta so far. I know we have a comment in the chat about the ISFL in their ultimate victory, which is their Super Bowl, and they want to congratulate the Yellowknife Wraiths. I don't know the league. I wish if the league, if you guys have a league, tweet at us and share it with us so we can get involved. Kind of follow some of these other leagues that are out there, and we love to retweet the multiplayer league stuff. Or if you're doing solo dynasties on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, I mean, if you tag us, we'll retweet it. We'll help you get watchers or followers or people to come join the league. Whatever we can do to make the community better and to help those leagues grow, we'll do. So definitely don't keep us in the dark. If you got a league going, let us know. What the league address is. Get your league on Twitter. Get some Twitter handles going for that, and tag us with sim results or news or whatever. We'll retweet it and share it with our community. We want the community to see all the great leagues that are out there and how much fun people have, both multiplayer and in their solo dynasties. And if you're interested in writing a dynasty report on our forums or doing a YouTube or Twitch dynasty or something like that, we've had a community member, Tim Moungy, who's been writing a series of blog posts for us over the past couple of weeks. The last 2 weeks have been the first two parts of a series in doing just that. And from start to when the series ends, it'll be the finish of all about writing a dynasty or doing a dynasty report or something like that. So if you're interested, but maybe don't know where to start or don't have any great ideas for one, go to our blog at wolverinestudios.com and read those articles and take a look at them. I want to thank everybody for coming to our stream tonight. I know we had to push it back a half hour, so I appreciate everybody making that adjustment and turning out for the stream. Thank you to our followers. Make sure if you are following, you have notifications enabled so that when we go live, spread the word. Let's get that follower count up, and we'll do some giveaways. Maybe one for our followers, and then one special one for subscribers only. Subscribers, anybody, again, you can subscribe to the channel either with a monthly cost or with your free Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime monthly subscription option. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We appreciate your feedback, and we will see you next week with some more updates on Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2021. Thanks everybody, and have a great weekend.